Okay, welcome everybody. This is Steve and Frank. We are back with another CBA game. Two things we're going to do differently today. One, at least for the first quarter, I will attempt the play-by-play and Frank will be the color. And also the game selection this time is not from last night. It's actually from earlier in the week. Why don't you tell us why, Frank?
Yeah, so if you've watched our last game that we broadcasted, the Guangdong game, it was a 40-point blowout. So for this one, we want to try something a little bit different in that because we have the ability to go back to a previously taped game, we picked one that actually is pretty exciting. You know, you might not see it from the first quarter game action, but we guarantee you that this is a game worth staying for. Just to get us started, we have Shanxi versus Shandong. These are two CBA teams that are thick in the playoffs. Shanxi is in white and Shandong is in purple. And maybe we will try to refer to them by their team names instead of the province names, as hopefully our audience is somewhat familiar with China.
Yeah, we've got the
Shandong
Heroes and the Shanxi.
Let's call them dragons.
Let's call them dragons too.
Yeah.
Their Chinese name is the dragons, but for some reason they use the phonetics of it. But
yeah, they used to be the Brave Dragons, and then at the end of last year, they changed their logo, changed their colors, and changed their team name.
They decided they were no longer brave.
Yeah.
No, actually, maybe just Frank, just talk about the two provinces a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Just give folks a little context on where they are in China.
Sure. So just in terms of the translation, the term Shan means a mountain, and Shandong means the east of a mountain, and Shanxi means the west of a mountain. And I believe it's referring to Taihangshan, which is one of these more famous mountain ranges in China. But the point I was trying to get across is that these two provinces are literally right next to each other. They border each other. It's kind of like
It's like North and South Carolina.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And there's clearly going to be some rivalry because they're so close to each other. And Shandong, I think, is known for it borders the ocean, so the people there seem to be a little bit more enterprising, while Shanxi, is known for good business people.
Coal?
Not that that's necessarily interesting in terms of basketball, but
And noodles? Or I'm mixing
and
that
noodles,
up.
sure, noodles.
Yeah. Let's get into the action a little bit. So in white, we've got Shandong, and they are passing the ball around the perimeter. Back out to their. That's a stretch big. It looks like number
Yeah,
10
I
with the
think
spin move. Oh, that's a good bucket.
Yeah, there's some very exciting basketball in this game. Number 10 from Shandong is
Ren Junwei.
Ren Junwei.
no.
Excuse me, Shanxi. Yeah, Ren
Sorry.
Junwei. He's a 6'8" power forward, and he definitely has range out to the three-point line.
Yeah. Okay.
And the Dragons rebound that miss.
Yeah. So let's maybe talk about this point guard number 25 for
the Dragons.
for Shanxi Dragons.
Yeah, so as we've talked about in our past broadcasts, the fact that a lot of these foreign players did not come back has pushed many Chinese players to the forefront of the CBA, and this is definitely one of the cases. This player, number 25, Zhang Hanjun, he's excuse me, not Zhang Hanjun. What am I talking about?
Yeah,
Zhang Qingpeng, number 9 for the Heroes. He's actually 39 years old, and he's already faded into the background of the CBA. But because the Western point guard, Lester Hudson, didn't make it back for Shandong, he's forced back into the starting lineup. And as we see throughout this game, he actually is quite masterful in controlling the pace. So we should try to watch for that. This is number 9 for the purple team.
Yes.
The Heroes.
Nice baseline jumper.
And that guy who put up that baseline jumper, he is known as the baby Shaq. So we'll also try to take a look at him as we go through this game.
Okay, so we're a little bit into the first quarter action. Shanxi's up 10-5.
Yep, so that was a double foul. This game actually, Steve, as you mentioned just now, I actually already watched it. That's why I was really much pushing for us to do this game. But this is one of the few games in CBA action where I see a lot of in-game dunks, especially by Chinese players.
Oh, exciting.
So yeah.
It's a nice little free throw jumper as well.
Yeah, from Rin Junwei, number 10, the
Yes.
6'8".
He's got two nice buckets, one spin move and a free throw jumper.
Yeah.
It's a good start for him to this game.
Yeah, and for the Dragons, for the team in white, there's a guard, number 7, that we should take a look at.
Okay.
Once he starts shooting, I think all of our audiences who are familiar with the
Yes.
NBA will see that he
I'm
has
very excited to see him.
shooting stroke very similar to Ray Allen.
Okay.
There you go, baby Shaq with a little hook.
Yeah. It's a nice hook shot in the paint. He's clearly got a little more strength than the other guy.
Yeah, so I think in this game, Shandong runs 2 bigs throughout the game with 3 guards to handle the ball, whereas Shanxi has a more balanced lineup.
Yeah.
So this man right here is our Chinese Ray Allen.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a nice deep 3.
Yeah.
Number 7, Yuan Shuai.
Yeah.
We should just call him the General. How do you feel about that?
Sure, the general.
The General. I like that. His name, why I thought of that is because his name in Chinese sounds like the same character as the General.
Yeah. Nice high-low action. Oh, beautiful block.
That was very nice.
Rin Junwei. Yes.
It's like a nice start to the game.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this deep 3. He just gets a little space.
Yeah.
Man, you got to guard that.
Yeah.
It's a nice pass. Oh, little
just past the 24
reverse
second
layup,
shot clock.
but he missed. So Shanxi's got a 15-7 lead. About 5 minutes into the first quarter. There's a lot of perimeter passing, huh?
Yeah.
So
So
see if they can get a little penetration here. Oh, he's got no space. That's good defense.
and baby Shaq gets the loose ball.
Give it to the big man.
Yeah,
Let him
immediately
eat.
tries to set up. And the guy that took that other shot, he's actually one of the bigger guys on the court at standing at 6'11", Jia Cheng, one of the twin towers for Shandong.
It's a nice play. Number 25 kicks it out for an open jump shot.
Yeah.
All right, and we're back into the game action. Shanxi right now has an 18-7 lead over Shandong. And just for our own verification or clarification, Shandong is the team in purple.
Yeah,
and Shanxi is the team in white.
Yep, the Dragons. So we're going to try to refer to them by the team names moving forward.
So the Dragons are in white.
And the Heroes are
and the Heroes are in purple. Purple Heroes.
Purple Heroes.
Purple Heroes. Ooh, that's a deep 3. Actually, I checked it out earlier. Both these teams are very good 3-point shooting teams.
Yeah.
As a team, the Heroes shoot 38% and the Dragons shoot 37%. So.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is, as we mentioned up top, none of their Western players made it back, right? So the Heroes also started Lester Hudson, who some of us may be familiar in the West.
Yep.
I think he made it into the Houston Rockets postseason roster last year. He's a small guard, 6'3" guard, who was very prolific. He scores nearly 30 points a game in the CBA. And having missed him, I think that definitely hurts the Heroes' 3-point prowess a little bit, as he also shoots 40% from 3 in the CBA.
Yeah, Hudson is a CBA legend. I mean, he's been in the league for a long time, a couple different teams, but always one of the top scorers. 35, 36, 37 points a game.
Yeah, and a very minor point, I believe he was actually arrested during a Black Lives Matters protest.
I did not know that.
That made it into the Chinese media because of his fame here. I think in general China has not paid a lot of attention to Black Lives Matters, and we'll try not to get very political on this show, but definitely worth mentioning. So the
Purple Heroes picked up a foul and made a substitution, and now we have the Dragons. Oh, that's a nice. It's a nice drive. Open layup, but he couldn't finish.
I think he got
drew the foul,
on the left hand, and he lost control of the ball. But we let's take a look at that replay. But we also want to take this opportunity to ask our listeners and our audience to give us some suggestions, because we know that this is not the most exciting basketball league in the world, but it is some interesting basketball action to take a look at nonetheless. In the past, we've tried to focus on well-known teams, you know, if you will, the Knicks, or let's say the Celtics and Lakers of the CBA. Whereas today, I would draw a comparison to maybe the Pacers and maybe the Spurs. These are quality teams that are not necessarily very well known, but the action is a lot more exciting. So what excites you guys? What do you want to watch? Let us know, and certainly we want you to stay with us throughout the whole game if possible.
Yeah, our YouTube channel tells us that the average gameplay is 9 minutes, 10 minutes. Yeah, we like to keep you here for at least 12 minutes today.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if the game action gets boring, feel
Baby
free
Shaq.
to skim
Oh,
through. Yeah,
gonna
Baby
count
Shaq
that?
with I think they did. Number 20 for the Heroes.
Yeah. Number 20 for the Heroes. He is
Tao
6'10", 264 pounds.
Yeah.
He's got good size for a big man. He's 29 years old this year. And a pretty good score. He's averaging about 15 points a game, which is really good for the local players.
Yeah.
And they've put him out. Did he make the free throw? And they subbed him out?
They subbed him out. I think it was not a shooting foul.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice entry pass into the high post.
Yeah, they have two big men on the court throughout most of the game, and that's, you know.
Oh, that's a nice pass and finish.
Yeah.
That is very nice.
For
Number
the
25 for the Dragons is quite good at penetrating and creating opportunities for his teammates.
Yeah, he's a smaller guard. He stands only 6 feet, and at age 27, he's really in his prime. Pretty good speed for.
And also a good three-point shooter. He's shooting 42% from behind the arc, so
Yeah.
he's got the long-range threat. That was a great opportunity. That's about the second or third good assist he's had in this quarter.
Yeah.
We see a shot of Yuan Shuai as well on the bench. Okay, we're back. The Dragons just made a substitution and subbed out number 10, Renjing Wei.
Yeah. Ren Jinwei is a 6'8" player, 6'8", 210 pounds. I mean, he's definitely. I think the Chinese player physique tends not to be like this NBA physique, but his game is. I want to go out on a limb and say that he's kind of similar to the Chinese Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, okay. We got
Yeah,
the Chinese Scottie Pippen, who's not actually Chinese.
Well,
we got
I mean,
the Chinese
yeah.
Porzingis, and now we got the Chinese Carmelo Anthony. I love it.
Yeah, he's able to shoot outside and put the ball on the floor, make a lot of good footwork.
That's a very nice three in motion by number 12.
Yeah. For the Dragons, number 12 is Xing Zhiqiang, another 6'8" player.
Yeah, 6'8", 205, 26-year-old forward.
Yeah, they have a decent wings.
Yeah,
Maybe
shoots 40% from three. They've got a lot of shooters on this team.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a good look. Good block.
Yeah, but a foul call.
I don't know about that foul. That was number 12.
Yep, that was our shooter on the other end getting caught for that hack.
That's a nice, decisive,
Yeah.
take the shot when you got it.
Yeah, this is one thing that we've observed through the CBA game, right? The decisiveness or lack thereof. A lot of times when you have a small advantage, if you decide to pass it on, then that helps your next teammate get even more of an advantage. If you start hesitating, then you lose what little fraction of a second you've gained on your defender. So the Heroes make one.
Yeah, so the Purple Heroes with, one more point on the board. Yeah, to pull the game from 26-8 now. And they bring back Baby Shaq.
Yep.
Baby Shaq is number 20 for the Purple Heroes. Oh, another set three. Ooh, banked it in. The bank is open on Saturday morning for us.
And we see that they actually pushed the deficit to 21 points. Again, we promise you stay with us. The deficit gets brought back, and this is, in fact, quite an exciting game.
There we go. That's a nice, big man taking advantage of the mismatch, just, pushing his guy into the paint.
Yeah, that was Jia Cheng, a 6'11" player for the Heroes.
Oh, he's feeling himself a little bit there. Another 3 attempt. Oh, that is a nice run by the big man. Nice outlet pass.
Yeah,
That's how you get back in the game, boys.
So that's a guard. I mean, we can start bringing him into the conversation. Number 9 for the Heroes, 39-year-old guard.
Did he just come in or something?
Yeah, he came off the bench, I believe. I don't think he started.
Oh. Who shot that? I can't even tell. And he missed that.
Yeah.
That's a nice run out.
Tian Guisen, the guy that shot that was Tian Guisen. So that's
for the Purple Heroes.
number 0, 25-year-old 6'2" guard.
35 is, wow, is a 7'2". This guy's...
That was the Dragons that...
That's the purple guy. That was the guy who dunked. That's the guy who...
No. The guy that dunked was 23.
No, it's 35. I just watched the play. The Purple Heroes. He's the guy who just dunked.
You sure? I thought it was Jia Cheng, 23.
No, but on the replay it was...
Okay, if you're sure, then go for it. But I thought it was him, this guy right here, standing here, because
35. It's that guy.
But his name is Jia Cheng. Okay, this is messed up.
For the key player. Already? 他是什么陶什么林？陶翰林。陶翰林。I gotta give him a nickname. Oh, he already has a nickname.
Here's
Baby Shaq.
That's really, for Chinese players, it's really smooth around the basket game.
Yeah. So we're back after the timeout. 3 minutes left in the first quarter. The Purple Heroes are trying to pull the game within a manageable distance. Right now they're still behind by 17. We know it's going to be a good game, so let's see how they inch their way back. Oh, it's an aggressive three-point attempt with a guy who's about 6 inches taller than you.
Yeah.
Number 35 is actually he's 21 years old and listed at 7'2" if this player roster is right.
Yeah, I think that's number 23. I'm pretty sure that was number 23, Jia Cheng. But he is 6'11". He's a big player. And now we see number 9, the 39-year-old point guard handling.
Oh, this is so much poise. Huh? Okay.
Yeah, I guess he just came back from injury is what we're hearing from the Chinese broadcaster.
Yeah.
So that was the first shot he took, number 9, for the entire restart of the...
And they lose the ball out of bounds.
Yep. Tipped out by our favorite number 9. I think I'm going to try to give him an NBA comp a little bit later as we get into the action.
You want to give him a nickname now, or...?
Let's let it play out a little bit before
call him Young John Stockton.
Young John Stockton.
Oh, he's younger than John Stockton today.
Sure, but he's still 39 years old. So.
Yeah. He'll be a nice pickup in our pickup game.
No kidding. He'll be playing center in our pickup game.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so they gave the ball to the Purple Heroes. Notice no one's wearing face masks on the end line.
Yeah.
Things are getting a little more relaxed here in China, and I hope so for everyone else around the world that you see better days. Oh, he never touched the ball.
No, I think he did tip the ball, but the refs decided that he did not knock the ball loose, and the offensive player still had a forward pushing motion. That's my guess on why that was ruled a hero ball.
We're starting to see a little press action from the Dragons. Okay. Heroes are trying to run off the screen here and give it to their point guard, number 9. Oh, that's a good pass. Just not well handled.
Yeah, that is 35. You're right. I'm sorry. I don't know why I kept on reading that as 27 or 23. Zhu Rongjun, 7'2", 250-pound center.
And only 21 years old if the roster sheet is right. That's a young prospect. Oh, that's a really aggressive deep 3. But the ball was saved? No, it was not saved. He stepped out. I'm not really sure why they took that deep 3 with a man in his face and about 4 seconds left on the shot clock.
Yeah, I think that's just the case of younger players losing their composure. 4 seconds, it sounds like very little time, but it's actually a lot for a professional basketball game.
It's like 3 dribbles.
Yeah.
I only work on my 2 dribble moves. Okay, number 10, Carmelo Anthony gets draws the foul just like Carmelo Anthony would.
Yeah. That was an unnecessarily aggressive defensive play. I think the defender got into his face and thought that maybe he could have.
Well, he had an attempt there to get the ball.
Yeah, and then after that, he thought maybe he could take that advantage, and then he couldn't keep his hands off. Right.
That's definitely a reach.
The
Number
first
8
two
by the Heroes.
attempts, I think, were fine. The third one was a little bit excessive.
Yeah. So that puts.
So that was a 6'7" forward who committed the foul, and the Heroes are over the limit.
Yeah, and that puts Ren Junwei, number 10 of the Dragons, back on the line. He makes both. Now pushes the lead up to 19 points. I'm going to give it back to number 9, the elder point guard.
Yeah.
Let's see what kind of offense they can create here. Oh, that's a nice pass to baby Shaq. Oh, yeah. Gets the foul. I like his game.
He's definitely, he knows where his bread is buttered, right?
He knows where his range is.
Yeah, he definitely, when he gets the ball, he does not back out of the lane. He attacks the lane very aggressively, and that's something that is I'm very pleased to see.
But he has some ball skills as well, right? It's not just the size.
Yes.
You know, often we see in big men the lack of willingness to use their size, but then also the lack of ball skill.
Yeah, he's got a very smooth touch from around 10 feet in.
29-year-old, 6'10", big man. I like this guy.
Yeah.
And he makes his free throws.
Yeah.
You gotta like big men who can make their free throws.
Yeah.
Okay, the Dragons have the ball. Gets stolen. That's a very nice defense by number 44 of the Heroes. Chen Peidong, 21-year-old 6'3" guard. Nice play. A lot of these young Chinese players are getting some minutes in this CBA restart.
Yeah, and I think that's also an important reason why this is a particularly interesting game for us.
Oh, it's a good outlet pass. 3-on-2 fast break. Finish that.
Wow, do you see that beautiful look-away pass by number 9?
Yeah, that was great. That was a very well-run fast break.
Yeah.
You don't see that every day.
Let's just call him Stockton. It'll be easier.
Call him the Chinese John Stockton?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It's like a 1998 version.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
We'll take it.
So this is the last possession of the quarter.
Ooh. Let's see if they can run this out. There's just a
that
wild shot.
That was a travel, I believe. He shifted both feet as he tried to avoid the defense.
So we got 2 seconds for a final shot here.
I think he hit the camera quite accurately with that shot. Yeah, now that the refs are reviewing that play, we'll just take this opportunity again to mention this is a game between 2 all-Chinese teams, right? So instead of looking at how dominant foreign players are versus these teams, we'll think about this as like a Division II NCAA game where maybe the pure talent level is not exactly very high, but they are similar talent level, which is why this game actually is a decent basketball game.
Okay, and we're back for the second quarter of action between the Purple Dragons in purple and the Purple Heroes in purple and the Dragons in white. And yeah, obviously we're gonna also switch up our roles a little bit, back to Frank doing the play-by-play and me on the color.
Yeah, what we're comfortable with, as we see immediately 2 turnovers by both teams, and a pretty entry pass from what we call the Chinese Stockton down into the lane to the 7'2" center, who overshoots that little layup as Shanxi, the Dragons, come back to attack. As number 25 probes the lane and comes back out, pulls the ball back out and drops it down to number 8. 6'8", I believe, 6'8" forward, who tries to attack the lane against the twin towers of the Heroes, and he loses his footing.
Yeah, the Twin Towers for the Heroes is quite impressive so far. They've got length and muscle, and two nice bigs.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned this again in the beginning, when we have no foreign players, we are really looking at players of similar talent level, right? If we were to have like a couple of NBA players go in with a bunch of high schoolers, it doesn't really matter how hard the high schoolers would run their plays. The NBA players would blow it up, which is, a facsimile of what we're looking at here.
Oh, yeah, that's a great block.
Yeah, we see
number
number
9 from the Dragons.
Number 8 from the Heroes, a 6'7" forward, try to attack the basket against a 6'11" center who rises up almost Roy Hibbert-ish with
Roy Hibbert.
beautiful verticality, right?
Yeah.
He didn't really go inside into his man. He didn't back out. He just went straight up in a very clean swap.
Yeah, that's great defense.
So the Heroes try to have a 0.1 second. And in fact, the player on the receiving end of that pass was still out of bounds, and it results in another turnover for the Heroes.
I wonder if the Chinese teams practice last-second shots.
I'm sure they do, but I'm still going to go out on a limb and guess that most of the practice is targeted at their foreign players receiving that pass.
Sure.
And we see another attempt by the Dragons, the number 0, as you said, the 6-foot guard, attack the basket.
Great block.
Another look at
Great
that beautiful.
verticality.
Yep.
Get that out of here. Just one finger wag short of the Kembe Mutombo.
Yep. And so we see Zhang Hanjun at the free throw line, a 27-year-old point guard, and he swishes the first shot through.
Yeah, very steady point guard. A little bit undersized, but very heady.
Yeah.
Good three-point shot. About a 42% three-point shooter.
And he swishes the next one, so he makes 2 of 2 free throws and pushes the lead back up to 15 for the Dragons.
Yeah.
They show a bit of a press, but the Heroes break it rather easily, and they make it to the front court with the number 9, the Chinese Stockton, holding the ball. He passes it around the perimeter until the ball makes it to the baseline.
Baby
big
Shaq.
to big, yep, Baby Shaq. Look at that patience with that footwork. And he didn't even jump as he lands the ball off the backboard.
Baby
for
Shaq
2.
challenges Chinese Roy Hibbert and scores 1 for him.
There you go. So the Dragons are back. They end up with a clean three-pointer for our Chinese Melo, who unfortunately misses it off to the left a little bit. And number 9 for the Heroes comes back. They run a high pick and roll with Baby Shaq.
Oh.
And look at that.
Wow, John
that's
Stockton-esque.
Yes, very much. But maybe even closer to our time, that actually reminds me a little bit of Steve Nash, who was, threatening the pass at every moment of that drive, and then eventually just surprises the defender with a beautiful lay-in.
Yeah.
And number 0 for the Dragons tries another three-pointer from the wing, and the missed shot is rebounded by the Heroes. And
great
at that
look.
Beautiful dump-off pass by number 9, and maybe our
Really
our
helping
viewers,
the Purple Heroes get back into this game.
yeah, and our viewers might understand why we compare him to Stockton a little bit. It was not that far-fetched, I hope.
Yeah,
He actually
undersized, a little bit older.
yeah, but great passing vision.
Look at that. Look at that Twin Tower post defense. Unfortunately, they call it foul, but
Yeah,
I
it's
think
because
that's
it was
still great
Melo on
defense.
offense, man.
It is Melo on offense. Gets all the calls. It's unbelievable. He shoots 3 for 15, but gets 20 points.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
see
a
that
great look.
look away before the pass
Yeah.
keeps the defenders guessing. Yeah, and this is a 39-year-old guard, so he takes a breather as we see number 10 for the Dragons at the free throw line.
Yeah.
Very smooth shooting motion.
Yeah. I see the Melo comp. I like it. We're still waiting for the Chinese Ray Allen to show up in this game.
Yeah, other than that really beautiful long-range bomb, we haven't seen him much.
Yeah. Well, we get to talk about him a little bit.
Yeah. I believe he's in the national team shortlist as well.
Recently, yes.
Yeah.
See, that's
See,
right.
that was a great drive, but
Yeah.
compared to the experience of number 9 or number 44,
is that a goaltend?
No, it's not. And this is one of the rules that we mentioned in our first broadcast. Oh, beautiful pass, but Baby Shaq just completely loses control of the ball. It just flies into the air and over the backboard. But
it gets stuck on the backboard, actually.
yeah, but as we mentioned in our first broadcast, the CBA rules are much closer to the FIBA rules than NBA, right? So as soon as the ball hits the rim, big men are allowed to touch it. And we also go back to that recent replay where the young guard, number 44 from the Dragons, attacks the basket. If he were more experienced, he could see that he's got a big man wide open underneath the basket. Instead, he tries to challenge the big 6'11" defender and gets his shot blocked.
It's a nice cut.
Yeah, so we see some pretty basketball plays, even though the execution may not be NBA level and the athleticism may not be NBA level. This is actually two teams playing together, looking for their teammates, and this is, actually something for me personally, a good thing to see.
Yeah, and also like to just add to, these are two teams that for this season are in the thick of the playoff hunt.
Yeah.
They are, probably, somewhere between 5 and 10 right now in the standings, but like we've said before, it's a very packed 3 through 11, and so every game matters, and especially for these two teams where they're really trying to get a higher seeding.
Yeah, neither team has had a lot of postseason success. It's not like the Guangdong team, which has won 9 championships, or Beijing, who had 3, right? Neither team has had a championship before. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Heroes, their best finish was second in the league, while the Dragons, their best finish was 3, as we see the Heroes make a long three-pointer to pull the lead back down to 10.
Yeah,
So
the Heroes have been, historically a little bit better. They've had a winning record the last 5 seasons.
Yeah.
So they've been in the playoffs the last 5 seasons, and even further back. Been a pretty good team, just not, like championship caliber.
Right.
Whereas Shanxi has actually been pretty bad. They've had like basically one winning season in the last 8 or so seasons, and so I believe actually Marbury played for them for a year before coming to Beijing.
He did.
But again, very limited success until this year, which clearly they're going to make the playoffs. It just is really a matter of seeding now. So it's nice to see for them. Their players are going to get, like Yuan Shuai, like the general, they're going to get some playoff experience.
Yep, we see number 35, the 7'2" center for the Heroes, try to catch the ball up at the top of the key, and he was being bothered by the defender, and I think his, tried to swing his arm a little bit to clear space and catch the ball. Yeah.
It's a little bit of a reaction.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
won't call it a flop, but it was a little reaction from the defensive player to get that call.
Yeah, also an inadvertent move, so there was no flagrant call on that play, and they simply turned the ball over to the Dragons. And it was
that's a nice high finish off the backboard.
Yeah. Off of a loose ball, unfortunately. Actually, we saw a big man kind of knock the ball loose from the 6-foot point guard, which is also skill play. So the Heroes are back on the attack. They try to look for Baby Shaq, and then they go high-low. And unfortunately, I think, again, there was miscommunication there. The center was looking to drop the ball really low, and Baby Shaq was trying to keep space.
Yeah. But, there was that's where he put the pass was where it should have been.
Yeah, see, that was Baby Shaq with the quick hands to knock the ball off, right? And that was a
guard
beautiful
too.
Defensive play. Of course, the
the
Dragons were able to capitalize.
Yeah. It was a nice seal. I just think he was probably half a second too quick. If he had planted, he could have.
Or the passer, right? I think it was a great decision to drop the ball off as soon as he did, but I think he already made up his mind where he wanted to make the pass.
Yeah. Well, that's also why he's 21 years old.
So as the players make their way back to the court, we see that Yuan Shuai, the general, the Ray Allen of the Dragons, makes his way back onto the court as well, and the Dragons bring the ball up to the front court. Yuan Shuai is running off the ball, and he receives the basketball right away, and pops a three-pointer that rims around and out.
Release right there.
Yeah,
it's a nice quick release.
But the play itself too, and him trying to get rub his defender off 2 consecutive picks, I think that's good execution. And we see pick and pop with Baby Shaq on the other end for the Heroes, and he was fouled as he tried to go up with the basketball.
Yeah, the Dragons don't have really an answer right now for Baby Shaq.
Yeah, you see that pretty pick play, right? He completely stonewalled the defender, giving himself a lot more space to go to the basket.
Yep.
Yeah, he's quite a complete player from what we've seen so far.
Oh, yeah, I mean, minus the three-point shot.
Yeah, but in terms of defense, he had quick hands, and offense, he sets a good pick. His shot around the basket is quite smooth. And so far, he's made 3 free throws.
That's great. You know, I would love to see maybe when they play the Beijing Ducks and he goes up against Udo.
Yeah.
A really good, athletic defender, how his game translates.
Yes, exactly. The Heroes have actually 4 centers on their roster too. A lot of depth up front. And we also see number 9 for the Heroes, our Stockton comp, make his way back into the lineup.
Yep. Oh. It's a heady play by the guard to draw the foul.
Yeah. The starting point guard, number 25, Zhang Hanjun, he had felt the pressure from behind him and leapt up. Very pretty stave-off play.
Yeah.
That's almost a little bit reminiscent of Chris Paul. I mean, he's not the same type of player, but that particular play reminds me of the smart.
A little bit size-wise, 6 foot, 6'1".
Yeah.
There's a 27-year-old point guard. He's an 88% free throw shooter.
Yeah. It's definitely one of the better shooters we've seen in this game. As he swishes through the first free throw, just continuing to draw these NBA comparisons, I would say, just as you described, Steve, Shandong, the Heroes have had continued success but never broke through, kind of like the Pacers, if you will, of the East, right? A team that wants to stay relevant no matter what, even if they're not always completely competitive for the championship itself, they've stayed in the mix.
Yeah.
Whereas Shanxi is a little bit more like maybe the Kings, maybe a bit of a stretch.
Okay, maybe somewhat like that, but they're this year they're playing quite well.
Yeah, or Pelicans, a team that's on the up.
Yep. I wouldn't say the Kings are on the up.
Well, the Kings, they didn't play quite that well. Look at that.
That is a
beautiful block by the center from the Dragons.
Number 35.
Yeah, he's their starting center and the captain of the team.
The Dragons are going to reset here.
Yeah. They swing it to the baseline, back to Ray Allen there, who
it's a good drop-off.
Good drop-off and a good mid-range hit by number 35, Ge Zhaobao.
That was a nice play by Yan Sha. I was expecting him to just be a pure shooter.
Yeah.
But to, create an opportunity for his teammate after he picked up his dribble, that was a nice show of patience and nice passing.
Yeah. So we see that center-on-center action, Ge Zhaobao was able to force Baby Shaq off.
Oh, great look.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, man, he's quite a complete offensive player, right? Maybe he's not the most athletic, but he knows what he's doing on the court.
Yeah.
And we see that replay of that pin down on the backboard. This defensive player is much longer, and I would say the guard from the Heroes, he didn't really have his environment in mind when he went up for that shot. That was an easy shot to block. Not to take anything away from the defensive player, but it's not like the guard taking the shot was rising up.
This is a nice free throw form from this 7'2" center.
Yeah.
Who's 21 years old. Oh, he misses that.
He misses, and Baby Shaq goes up.
And one.
Yeah, he grabs the offensive rebound off the missed free throw, went up right away without hesitation, gets a little contact, which doesn't affect his ability to put the ball in.
He just went straight up for the rebound.
Yeah.
There's no, nothing was wrong with that play. And they're clawing their way back into this game.
Yeah, it's still an 11-point deficit, but they're showing much more life in the second quarter. The big-to-big connection is affecting, I think, the Dragons' defense.
Yeah.
And Baby Shaq takes
makes another free throw.
Makes this a 4-point trip. for the Heroes as the Dragons come back. So number 25.
Their point guard.
Beats his man off the dribble, but could not land the shot against the 7'2" defender.
That was a tough play to finish.
Yeah.
You gotta. Oh.
And that was number 9 again. He fakes the shot, drops it off to Baby Shaq, who has a pretty play, but couldn't quite land the shot. As the other center, the 7'2" center for the Heroes, knocks the rebound right in, and they cut the deficit to single digits.
Oh, good idea. That was just a wild pass, though. Yeah, the Twin Towers, man, on offense and defense have a little bit of chemistry.
Yeah.
I'm sure for the younger center, number 35, this is one of just a good opportunity to get some minutes for him.
Yes,
and he probably hasn't played much this season, and so for them to have a little bit of natural chemistry is very good, especially for their kind of future outlook.
Yeah, quite so. He averages only 7 minutes per game during the season before this restart. As we see number 9 handling the ball, gets it knocked out of his hand, and commits the foul to stop the fast break.
I feel like they both kind of try to do the same move on each other. I return one favor to you. Oh, coach is angry.
Yeah, I think actually because we are several days after the game, that coach was fined for that particular.
For being on the court.
Yeah, for being on the court. He got upset, and he was upset that his man, number 9, when the ball was knocked out of his hands, there was no foul call, and he has to be helped off the court, not only by his assistant coach, but actually by the referee. And he was disciplined after the fact. But
did they give him a technical?
No, he was not disciplined during the game, but they made up for it a little bit later.
Look at the Chinese John Stockton very calmly.
Yeah. I mean, this
working
is
the official.
Yep, this is the experience of a 39-year-old veteran.
Hey, how's your wife and kid doing? Yeah, how about that foul call?
Yeah.
Where was it?
And see, he's trying to play peacemaker between the ref and his coach as well. So definitely some veteran leadership. You know, he only averaged 18 minutes during the season, but as a 39-year-old to get that much run shows his presence on this team.
Yeah, he actually played for the Beijing team.
Yeah.
For 3 seasons. Was a rotation guy. Won 2 championships. Oh, and actually, be 1 championship in 2016.
Yeah.
But he's been around the league. Yao Ming, Xinjiang, Beijing, Shandong.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one thing we see in the CBA, right? That players don't make it beyond 35 years of age that often, unless you're really a superstar. And he may be a case where even without being a superstar, he's still around.
Well, he definitely was a superstar in 2010. I mean, that was a long time ago. 10 years ago, when he was 29, he averaged 21 points a game.
Sure.
In this league as a starter for Liaoning. So
yeah,
a very solid player. Even the season before, 18 points a game.
Yeah, but I do think that for Chinese players, and unless you have size, you don't really play until beyond 35. I think that unlike guys like Yi Jianliang or let's say Yao Ming back when they were towering over their opponents, they're able to stay on the court just for sheer size.
Yeah.
So the Dragons push the lead back up to 10 after that mix-up at midcourt that led to 2 free throws, as number 9 Stockton here is trying to create some offense, and he calls for a high pick and roll with Baby Shaq, and they swing it around. And we see the 7'2" center actually put the ball on the floor. Zhu Rongzhen, number 35. He's showing his aggression, which I think maybe also catches the defense by surprise because, as we mentioned before, he only averaged a little over 6 minutes during the regular season. They may not be that familiar with his game.
Yeah, I just wish he started that drive a little bit closer to the rim.
Yeah,
because he had 2 dribble moves, and when he went up for a shot, I just felt like he was probably a little bit further than he wanted to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think, 35 and the 7+ foot plus size and his physical stature, he might remind you a little bit of Durant. I'm not making that comparison at all, and I'm just going with your point, right? If this were Kevin Durant, actually 2 dribbles, he would be at the rim.
He'd be dunking.
But because he's not, right? He's actually still watching his dribble as much as he's looking at the basket.
If he was Giannis, he would only need 1 step, and he's dunking.
There you go. But he misses both free throws. Coming back, though, he blocks that shot, but it ends up in the hands of an offensive player as the Dragons put it back in, and we see number 9 make another pretty pass, but unfortunately his man misses the wide open 3-pointer. Dragons attack the basket, get actually kind of open, but miss the layup.
Yeah,
And the
that's
Heroes are back on attack. They had maybe a bit of an advantage going forward, but they pull back wisely, I would say, and the ball goes to Baby Shaq, who has a pretty play from the middle.
Nice little turnaround J with the man in his face.
Yep. Pretty shot, very soft shot from the middle of the lane. And the deficit is again at 10 points. I think the momentum we can see is swinging a little bit. As we see, the Dragons take a 3-pointer, but that bounces around and off, and their big man under the basket had the better position. As we rewatch Baby Shaq's little hesitation.
Yeah, it's a great shot. See all the stuffed animals in the crowd.
Yeah,
gotta love that.
Yeah.
We got put Carmelo back in. Oh, he is back in.
Ooh,
oh,
air ball on the free throw by number 17.
Sweaty hands.
Yeah,
it's hot in there.
Yeah. So this is a wing. He's about a 6'6" wing. Number 17, Liu Guanchen, 24-year-old, hits the second free throw as the Heroes come back on attack. We see the coach talking to his 21-year-old young center prospect. Number 9 handles the ball, dumps it off to number 44, who watches as the play develops. Another high pick and roll. This time, the first pick was not great. The second one lands quite solidly. Number 44 takes a wide open 3-pointer that was long as the Dragons rebound and come back.
But I'm okay with that 3. You know, he had space.
Yeah.
His pick guy wasn't rolling. You know, wasn't popping, was just there. So if you created the space, you gotta take that shot.
Yeah.
And hopefully make a few of those.
Yeah. Now we see number 17 dump the ball back outside.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was number 0 taking.
That was a bad foul. Bad shot and a bad foul.
Yeah.
It's a bit unnecessary.
Yeah, I think they are trying to stem the flow of the offensive fast break there because most of the Heroes players are already running down court. So
you see the.
I guess he's not even taking free throws, so maybe that was not such a terrible foul, strategically speaking. And number 9 handles the ball. Another high pick and roll with Baby Shaq. He tries to take the ball out or dribble between his legs, but it bounces off the defensive center's foot, and it ends up with
should be a jump ball.
With a jump ball, yeah. And unfortunately, in the CBA, they have a possession arrow rule, so
much like college basketball.
Yeah, as we see the 6'11" center take the ball on the ground.
So it's just classic jump ball situation.
Yeah, and they lose possession, unfortunately, and the Dragons are back. Center drops the ball off to Carmelo, who hesitates, holds the ball, gives it to the general, who was tied up by number 9, Mr. Chinese Stockton, and fouls called on the Heroes as the general goes to the free throw line. We actually haven't seen this general's outside shooting prowess be used that much.
Just yet.
Yeah, not yet, but I think he does blow up in the second half. So let's look forward to that action. His first free throw, unfortunately, rolls around and off. He is a very accurate free throw shooter.
Yeah.
84% from the line during the season.
If he works on his free throws, he can get into the 50, 40, 90 club.
Yes. So he hits the second, pushes the lead back up to 12 as the Heroes come back. And Baby Shaq holds the ball up top, dumps it off to number 9, sets a pick for him immediately, and pretty play to pass the ball to the baseline. And number 4, he, instead of taking that 3-pointer maybe a little bit out of his range, he pushes it in for about an 18-footer from the baseline, which lands, and the deficit is now down to 10. Number
wild
44
shot
had a
again.
pretty decent hands-up defense, and the Dragon player lands on his butt, and they now have a
Oh, great dump off.
5-on-4 advantage, and number 9 takes advantage. And a no-look pass to Baby Shaq for layup, and the lead is now down to 8 as we go into this timeout. Okay, and we are back, and the Dragons hold the ball after that beautiful no-look pass into the lane for number 9, who already has 5 assists. His name is Zhang Qingpeng. Unfortunately, I don't know if our audience will know these Chinese names so well, so we keep referring to him as a Chinese Stockton. And we see a steal for
They're going to take their time on this one.
the Heroes, who
Finish with the last shot here.
Well, they take a 3-pointer from the wing, and that goes over the backboard, and there's 1 second left. Yep, the Dragons don't even take a shot, and we go into the halftime deficit with an 8-point lead for the Dragons over the Heroes of Shandong. Okay, and we're back for the second half action between the Shandong Heroes and the Shanxi Dragons in white. The Heroes are in their purple jerseys.
The purple Heroes reminds me of the, I don't know if you remember the New Jersey team considered changing their logo to the Swamp Dragons.
Swamp Dragons. That was such a beautiful story, man. I loved it. Do you
And
realize that in the end, when they actually had a league-wide vote, they are the one team that came out to vote against it?
It's awesome.
Yeah, so we see a Dragons shot that ended up in the offensive rebound for the Dragons, and there was a bit of a tie-up between the Dragons player and Baby Shaq, and this was called a jump ball. So unfortunately, I think the Dragons maintained possession. Actually, both guys went out of bounds, so I think that's a good call. Yep. So the ball comes out to the Dragons, number 17, who hands it off to their point guard, number 25, who now has a mismatch with Baby Shaq.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we see a foul under the basket on the big man mismatch. So
I
maybe
think he was
Steve,
trying to get that into the paint.
yeah, you can tell us a little bit maybe about the history of the Shanxi team, how they have evolved over the last 10-ish years in their ownership situation.
Yeah, I mean, just a little bit that I know of is, they basically were owned by this, I guess, an alcohol company, right? 汾酒集团.
Yes.
And also, partly owned by the government, right? And the local sports bureau. And so the team went through a number of transactions. But, eventually, at the end of the day, all these CBA teams have some government affiliation.
Yeah.
And so, as we've known, is what Yao's been, attempted to do, whether it's with his own team at the time, the Shanghai Sharks, or with the entire CBA, was actually to try to get some private equity money to privatize the league.
Yep.
And that always gets a lot of pushback because with every single team, there's different ownership structure and constituents.
Yeah.
And, if you want to elaborate a little bit on that.
Sure, as we watch the Heroes inbound the ball directly through to the into the hands of the Dragons, who now come back on the attack. As Steve said, I think that the Chinese teams we mentioned during that first as we see the general with a beautiful one dribble pull up, high arching swish. During the early days of the CBA, a lot of these teams were built by the foundation of a military team.
Yes.
And then that leads into the Chinese state-run athletic schools, which pump talent into these teams. So these teams all have youth teams. I think the CBA started out more like a European soccer structure. So there also was a relegation system in the first maybe 15 years of the CBA, and that's gone away over the past few years. But both of these teams, the Shandong and Shanxi teams, I think came up into the league through the relegation system.
Yeah.
And Shanxi, we see another beautiful dump off to Baby Shaq, who easily dunks the ball into the basket to cut the lead down to 8 points. So the Shanxi team actually for a couple of years was sold to Beikong, the team that we covered that played the Guangdong team recently. But because the Shanxi Sports Bureau was unwilling to let them go, the Beikong team, the Beikong organization couldn't just move the team because, as mentioned, the youth farm system and everything. So eventually, this Fenjiu Jituan, the alcohol company that Steven mentioned, stepped up to keep the team in Shanxi, and that's why we have what we have today. This Dragons team that also changed its logo actually in this past year, and the team name to the Long.
A 3-point shot cuts this deficit to 7 points.
Yeah,
Here.
from the Heroes, they swung the ball around for that 3, as the Dragons set up top. The General dribbles the ball. Unfortunately, he hasn't so far shown us much of a ability to break his defender down. So
look at that.
That was called a foul. Judging by the way everybody's walking in the other direction, sounds like that was an offensive foul.
Yeah, but still, I mean, just to show a little bit of his ability to create his own shot.
Yeah,
a little push.
That was a pretty crossover, but it doesn't look like his first step is quite fast enough. As we see the replay of the Heroes dunk on the other end.
Speaking of European soccer, I have one crazy idea that I really like that I saw in the CBA that I think maybe the NBA can try too. It's really just a fan base thing, but basically, like, you know how in soccer they will have a 1 to 10 score for players' individual performances.
Okay.
I'm not even sure where that comes out, but like, you know, after the match, someone will get a 9, someone will get a 6, and you get rated.
Yeah.
And the CBA does this on the Hupu app, but basically you can rate each player's performance.
Yeah.
So like the other day, you know, Xinjiang lost. Zhouqi's stat line was good. It was like 20 and 10.
Yeah.
But I saw his rating was like the fan rating was like an average was like 5 stars.
Yeah.
Out of 10. So obviously people were not happy with his performance. I think the NBA, especially with the restart, could also think about something like this where, hey, you're not going to have fans in the arena, and to maybe increase engagement, it's like, why don't I rate the performance of my players on my favorite team, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. Carmelo will be getting 2 stars every time, despite putting up 18 points on 15 shots.
Yeah, and then certain role players who are like fan favorites might get a lot of, you know, high ratings.
Bull outlaw, man.
Yeah. And then if they really wanted to like social commerce this thing, commercialize this thing, like you could literally charge people like some, you know, small nominal amount for the vote, or if you wanted to spend more money to make your vote more weighted.
All right, that sounds
it's too much.
That sounds very capitalistic, Steve.
I'm sure Bomber would be giving all his player top votes.
Yeah, probably let's not bring money into this, but we also see the Dragon center Ge Zhao Bao take the ball, put the ball on the floor against the smaller man, get hacked on his head, and calmly complete a 3-point play to push the lead back up to 10. So again, since we are broadcasting from, you know, a few days after having watched this game, we can tell you that stay with us. This is the quarter where the Heroes make their push and actually take a lead by the end of the quarter. So we hope that if you've stayed with us thus far, hopefully you'll continue to watch this game with us.
The purple Heroes. Yeah. Number 4 hits a free throw line jumper.
Yep. Yeah, we see Melo
working the post.
Work. Yep.
Classic Melo shot.
And we see Baby Shaq actually
Baby
lead
Shaq
the
going
break.
coast to coast.
Ooh, unfortunately he is not a skilled ball handler. He, I think, in my opinion, pulls up maybe just a couple of feet too early. So he didn't quite have the explosion to go all the way to the basket, and the defender was able to really just knock it down. Actually, Melo in this case knocked it down out of his hands.
Melo playing good defense.
Yeah.
I mean, Melo is just a little bit undersized here
he's 6'8"
against Baby Shaq, but he definitely is willing to get in and get dirty.
Yep, so we see number 23 from the Heroes, another center, 6'10" center, try to attack the lane after a nice cut. And the lane was sealed off by 2 defenders, but he was pushing the action, so he gets a foul call as he goes to the free throw line.
He's got a little bit of range to him as well. Decent shooter.
Yeah, but that first free throw clanks off the front of the rim. So maybe, Steve, we can also talk a little bit about, he misses both free throws and rebounded by the guard from the Dragons, who brings it up the court. Maybe we can also talk a little bit about how these CBA teams don't Ooh, we see a beautiful
general.
three-pointer by the general. Yeah, these Chinese teams actually don't really care that much about their English name, or let's say the mascot, or let's say the team name, right? If you
Right.
mention any NBA team, we call them the Bucks, the 76ers, the Suns, the Lakers, but here we never say the Dragons because like 4 teams are the Dragons.
Yeah, and they're all half of them are flying.
Yeah.
The other two are crouching.
Yeah, they're all flying.
Okay.
Flying leopards, flying tigers, flying dragons, flying
Yeah.
everything. Right? And ooh, we also see a nice little left-handed hook by number 23, the 6'10
Zhao
center
Chen.
from the Heroes. Yeah, and the deficit is still around 9 points.
So are you a fan of these, team names or not?
I am not.
Okay. You don't like the names specifically, or you just don't like having mascot names at all?
No, of course I like having mascot names. I don't like the way that the CBA teams are not really building their identity based on these team names, right?
Well, the Beijing Ducks.
Nobody calls them the Ducks. Have you ever heard of anybody say the Ducks?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Well,
in Chinese media?
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we see another hero guard try to attack the basket, then get his shot swapped into not the stands because there's nobody behind the stands, but definitely get his shot blocked by number 35 from the Dragons. I think this is the second time actually he's done this. So we come back to the action as the Heroes take the ball out of the baseline. They actually land a pretty pass to their 7'2" center, who's directly beneath the basket. But I think his shooting touch, maybe under pressure, is a little bit lacking as he misses the shot long off the backboard. And the Dragons are back. So far, this third quarter has been reasonably competitive. The Dragons take that three-pointer from top of the key, which misses, but number 35, the Dragon center, gets the rebound.
Yeah, maybe we can take this opportunity, Frank, to talk about the team names for the CBA teams.
Yeah,
It's not as so simple as the Beijing Ducks in
Yeah.
English. Actually, the Chinese names are quite lengthy.
yeah.
And why is that?
They start out obviously with the city name because this is the way that these teams build support from the local fan base, right? So for the Beijing Ducks, we always say Beijing, so that's number one. And then secondly, they all have sponsors. There are a couple of exceptions. For example, I think the Bai team, because of its military, we'll see that big swap by number 35 from the Heroes as he blocks the shot and creates a fast break for number 9 to go all the way to the basket for a layup. So that was a pretty possession for the Heroes. To finish our previous thought, a lot of these teams have sponsors. For example, the Shanxi team is an alcohol company, right? So we call them the Shanxi Fenjiu. And then after the sponsorship is the club name. I don't have the club name for the Shanxi handy, as we see the Dragons take that three-pointer behind a high pick to push the lead back up to 10. And
Yeah, then eventually they have their mascot name,
Yeah.
right? In this case, the Shanxi.
or the team name,
Yeah.
the Flying Dragons before, the Brave Dragons before, and now just
Just
the
the
Lone.
Dragons.
Yeah,
Yep.
just the Lone. And we see both teams swap wing three-pointers. Number 7, the General, is now showing his shooting prowess.
Yeah. Oh, another 3 attempt.
Yeah, they keep shooting these three-pointers. But
Well, I did say, like, in the beginning of the game, these two teams are both very good three-point shooting teams.
Yeah.
As a team, they're both shooting around 37-38%. So
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that they're taking a lot of threes.
yeah, I think from earlier, we replayed that block by Zhu Rongjin, the number 35, the 21-year-old 7-footer. And we see that first three from the Heroes to start this whole three-pointer barrage. Followed up by another wing three by the General for the Dragons. But yeah, so just to finish that thought, right? These teams don't really do their marketing around their mascot names. And certainly the English version of the mascot names is very much lacking. So in this case, the Shanxi team, their English name after the change is not really just the Dragons, it's the Long, which, if you try to market it to a Western audience, who would know what that is?
But I don't think that's one of their goals right now, is to
Right,
market
exactly.
to a Western audience.
Sure. But even
But maybe
so,
they should.
But even so, I think, their team, pretty defensive play by the Heroes after a beautiful dump off to number 35, the 7'2" center for a dunk. As I said, this is one of the few games where I see repeatedly dunks from the field.
Yeah.
So Wang Ruheng, number 24 for the Heroes, made 2 pretty plays, 1 assist for the
not ready
dunk
for
and
that
the
pass.
steal. Yep.
It's another pick.
Yeah, we see another high,
Wow,
high to
that's
high,
a great pass.
high-low, center-to-center pass.
That is a great pass.
Yeah, pretty
Two
set
young
play.
bigs.
Yeah.
I know, Frank, you wanted to talk a little bit also about some of the things happening around the CBA recently.
Yeah, definitely. I think one thing worth talking about is this 5-point play, Steve. Did you happen
I
to
didn't
catch
hear
this?
about it. So how did they
Yeah.
get 5 points?
So this is our familiar team, the Liaoning Tigers, or was it Leopards?
Flying Leopards.
Flying Leopards. Yeah, as we see a missed free throw from the Heroes. So Alan Guo, who I think we've talked about multiple times,
Yep.
he ran out on a three-pointer, and
He was the defender.
he
ran
was
out
the
on
defender, right?
Yeah.
So the three-pointer shot was made by the Tongxi player, and after the make, he actually then hit him in the head with his arms raised, right? So the refs decided that this was a foul after the completed shot rather than a foul in the action.
Oh, interesting.
Action, right? So after that, the Liaoning team was actually over the foul limit. So on the loose ball foul, the shooter was awarded another 2 free throws on top, and he made both for the only 5-point play I have ever seen
That's
in
crazy.
professional basketball.
Who won the game?
I believe Liaoning did.
Oh, good,
Win
because
the
they've
game.
been
Yeah.
they've been in.
But
I think we covered this before. They fired their longtime championship-winning head coach
Yeah.
after a 3-1 start, and they did win the game after, but then they also lost a few. So
Yeah.
what I've heard from one of my colleagues who's a huge Liaoning fan
Yeah.
is that there's some big rifts within the team right now
Yeah.
among the players, and hopefully, more winning basketball can bring them together.
Yeah, Liaoning traditionally is a hotbed for basketball talent. They provided a lot of players for the national team over the years, but it seems like currently they are missing some youth on their team right now.
Yep.
So we saw just before that timeout several beautiful plays by number 9. The Stockton comparison maybe is taking a better hold now. He was able to steal the ball a couple of times and get
It's a
2
classic
layups.
Stockton stat line there. 6 points, 6 assists, and a steal.
Yeah,
For one half of basketball.
yeah,
Oh, Carmelo got a little scrapped up on the chin.
yeah. So the Heroes are showing him half-court or three-quarter court press now, as they have the deficit down to 5. I think they are starting to mount a run. So there we go. The Dragons call a play for the general who misses that shot, but it was a quality shot, as number 9.
It's very
passes the
similar
ball.
to Ray Allen.
Yeah.
That every time he shoots the ball, you think it's going in because
Yeah.
it just looks nice.
Yeah, so number 9, Stockton there, just dumps a ball off to number 24 for the Heroes, who calmly hits a wide open three-pointer from the baseline. Now the deficit is down to 2 points. As we see him drive the lane, right, their big man sets a good pick, and his other guard backcourt mate smartly runs out as he knows that number 9, Zhang Qingpeng, is able to find him in traffic. Okay, now we see the Dragons bring the ball back up the court, holding on to a 2-point lead. A lot of time was spent on deciding whether that was a three-pointer and also how much time was left on the clock. As the general holds the ball, he was
Might have been called for a travel there.
he was being hounded by Stockton there and had to backtrack a little bit and was called for picking up his pivot foot.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the general a little bit. This is obviously we know now he's a very, very good three-point shooter.
Yeah.
But his career arc is kind of interesting because I noticed he actually was this is kind of his second season as a full-time starter.
Yeah.
And he's played very, very well. He made the All-Star team for the first time this year. His other season was actually as a starter was like 3 years ago. So, which he also played well. But then they moved him to the bench for 2 seasons. But now that he's getting starters minutes again, he's blossomed into an All-Star. And like I said, he's now on the short list of the national team, largely because his shooting touch is something that no other Chinese player really can offer right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we saw another pretty big-to-big high-low pass from the 7'2" center to their 6'10" center, Jia Cheng, number 23, who hits the ensuing free throw after that dunk. So now the Heroes are in the lead by 1 point. And we see Melo try to take the ball in and
Wow, good look.
miss the free throw. Yep, beautiful outlet pass by number 9. And the Heroes are now building.
Dropping dimes everywhere on this court.
Yeah. He's definitely got really good long vision down the court. And we see Yuan Shuai, the general, run around off ball a little bit more. Carmelo hits the open long 2. Excuse me, actually, that was not him. It was a different player. Number 9 hits a beautiful, long, wide open 2-pointer.
A little bit like LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah.
We're going to go there all the game.
He's maybe not quite as big as Aldridge.
I just meant that one play only.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, so this is a center, obviously with some three-point range, as his pump fake got his man completely in the air. And as he tried to drive, number 23 for the Heroes, as he tried to drive, he gets hacked from behind. Yeah, Melo-esque defense.
Yeah.
So that was not a hack from behind. They actually bumped knees, and I think he was being called. Melo was called for a tripping foul. Just to finish my previous thought on the team names, I mean, you know, it doesn't really matter so much what the team's names are, but because these teams don't really market the names, they always mention the province names. It's extra difficult for these teams to move around. As you know, you introduced earlier, Steve, about the Shanxi team saga, trying to move to Beijing, and ended up back in Shanxi. It's just difficult for me to think of any of these teams by their team names.
Yeah, I mean, once they move, they're just a new identity.
Yeah, and then it's very difficult again to build into something longer, right? If you look at NBA teams, right, you know, you look at the Kings, we know that they moved from, they were the Kansas City Royals to begin with, and then they became, you know, we can trace their movements, and we know why the Utah Jazz are in Utah but called the Jazz, because they started out in New Orleans. But with the CBA teams, if a team decides to fold, they just disappear.
Yeah, but I think also, like we talked about the constituents, it's those ownerships groups obviously place that more importantly, right?
Yeah.
Is that their brand or
exactly.
is
Exactly.
foremost, right? And once you sell the team, it's a new company, and it's a new brand, so makes sense.
Yeah, and then a lot of the reason why they do the sponsorship is for the marketing opportunity.
Of course.
So it's kind of like, you know, in the NBA, if you had the Atlanta Hawks become the Atlanta Coca-Cola Hawks.
Yeah. That's a great analogy.
Yeah. And we see the Heroes swing the ball around as Baby Shaq is checked back in, and they immediately go to him. And this particular post shot was a little flat. And Melo takes it coast to coast, but the layup misses as Zhang Qingpeng, number 9,
great look.
makes another beautiful pass ahead.
Yes, great look.
Yeah. His experience and composure, I think, is definitely a key reason why the Heroes are able to claw back from that 20-plus point deficit. In fact, I think he just made double figures assists.
Number 9 tries another LaMarcus Aldridge shot.
Yeah. And Zhang Qingpeng, Stockton is now directing traffic. He passes off to number 24 for a three-pointer and a foul on the general from the Dragons. So we're looking at three free throws coming up.
Yep.
And we take a look back at that previous play. This beautiful pass ahead.
So, the Chinese Stockton running the break is very nice. That's a little bit of a touch foul.
Oh, that was a pretty obvious foul though. On the follow through, he completely held up his wrist.
Yeah.
So number 24 for the Shandong Heroes, Wang Ruheng. This is a 30-year-old 6'4" guard. He is not a full-time starter, but a starter for half the games. He doesn't shoot that well from the field, but he hits 36% from the three-point range, and he is an 80% free throw shooter.
This is a huge quarter swing for the Heroes.
Yeah.
I mean, being down 8 points at halftime and now taking a 5-point lead with 36 seconds left.
Yeah.
The Dragons just haven't gotten a lot of offense outside of a few of the jump shots from the general.
Yeah, they've gotten kind of stagnant. Actually, I think the general himself might have only hit maybe 1 or 2 shots this quarter, and they are just not getting into the rhythm as much. I think their point guard might be a little bit tired. Their rotation is quite short, but we do see a nice open layup for number 17, their wing, who gets fouled by Stockton from the Heroes.
That's a great pass. Great cut.
Yeah. I think obviously defensive discipline is still missing a little bit for these players. They still tend to have this tendency to go after the ball rather than to stick with their man, and that creates a lot of open opportunities if the offensive player have good chemistry to get to open spots, and they have a good ball handler who can find these open players. As we've seen in this quarter anyway for the Heroes, they've managed to take advantage with number 9 Stockton on the court. So another
screen there. There you go.
Couple of high screens to get the ball into number 9's hands. As again,
it's a hole for the last shot here.
Yeah, definitely trying to create a last shot. Yep, and cross-court pass to the baseline for Wang Ruheng, number 24, his backcourt mate, to hit that three-pointer.
Huge third quarter.
Yeah, now they've gone from an 8-point deficit to an 8-point lead. So we come back to the fourth quarter of this game between the Shandong Heroes and the Shanxi Dragons, as we see Shandong open up the fourth quarter attacking the basket as they take a 8-point lead into the fourth quarter after starting the third quarter with an 8-point deficit.
Yeah, that was a big third quarter for the Heroes. I think a lot of it too has also to do with the Dragons just not finding any rhythm on offense.
Yeah.
I think where they were getting a lot of buckets before, especially like we saw with Chinese Melo, the general. We didn't see a lot of offense from those guys in the third. Meanwhile, on the other side, with Chinese John Stockton running point, they were getting a lot of nice layups in transition, nice easy buckets.
Yeah, I think their size on defense also has affected Shanxi a little bit. So two made free throws pushes the lead up to 10 as the Dragons try to claw back. And they do, by the way. Spoiler alert. So that's a pass to number 25, the Shanxi point guard, the 6-foot point guard who tries to probe the lane but comes back, and they see this is an example of what Steve was talking about. They kind of miss on that. They miss that execution, and they have to make something out of nothing. But luckily, number 9 gets the offensive rebound, and he draws a foul in the process of a putback.
Yeah, just to compare these 2 point guards, right? Number 9 for the Heroes, number 25 for the Dragons. On that particular offensive possession, clearly didn't really know where he wanted to go, and basically the clock ran out. He had to put up a desperation heave. Got bailed out with a great offensive rebound by his teammate, but clearly the sort of savvy is very different.
Yep, and the free throw was missed, but 2 Hero players went after it and knocked the ball out of bounds. So this is actually the 3rd attempt at the basket for the Dragons this time. Another shot blocked, and another offensive rebound by number 17, the 6'6" wing, who is hacked and fouled as he tried to go up. I mean, this is a bit of a melee here under the basket.
Yeah.
It was a good shot blocking play by the Heroes, but they could not secure the loose ball.
Yeah, the Heroes had four defenders
Yeah.
around the offensive player with their arms up. So
Yeah, I think in this case, this is what the third or fourth attempt at the basket. Another free throw coming. And number 17 hits the first free throw.
this
Yeah,
ends up being that's crazy.
Yeah. Another missed free throw. And Baby Shaq grabs the ball, but steps out of the baseline.
Yeah,
I mean, I would say that looked like a little bit of a push from the back, but
it does.
the ref called it just out of bounds play. So
The Heroes are kind of shooting themselves in the foot here,
Yeah.
giving their opponent possession after possession.
yeah,
I mean, their opponent could be 6 points right now,
Yeah.
but only managed so far 3 points on this possession or
Yeah.
this series of possessions.
yeah. 4 attempts at the basket, looking at number 5 right now. Yeah.
There is a little bit of a bump,
Well, I mean, I think
but they didn't have any hands, right? And I
yeah,
think
but it
that's
doesn't need to
tough
be
call.
a very hard bump when you're in the air. So I think if I were the ref, I would have called it maybe even just a no call in that case.
Yeah.
So, another offensive rebound for the Dragons after a 3-point attempt in the wing.
That's now
Yeah.
like the fourth possession,
I think it's got to be
fourth
more.
straight.
Okay, a high dribble by 25, who hands it off to number 17, who gets bumped. Another free throw coming up, perhaps, with 0.3 seconds on the shot clock left. I think, as you said, Steve, the Heroes are definitely shooting themselves in the foot after finally pushing their lead to double digits.
That's what they always say in basketball. The defense doesn't stop until you get the rebound.
Yeah.
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 They haven't
Okay.
played bad defense. I
No
mean,
free throw on that possession. 25 continues to dribble around, I would say a little bit purposelessly.
It's good rotation on
Yeah.
defense. Like I
Another
said, I
foul.
just think it's not being able to secure the rebound.
Yeah, I think it's flustered the defensive players as number 8 gets called for 2 consecutive fouls and is subbed out. I mean, if every foul is counted as a possession, that's got to be like the 8th possession now for the Dragons on this play. Yeah, he does bump Melo. I mean, we're not saying that these are bad calls. It's just
Yeah.
they are they're not collected right now. So yes, the Dragons yet again take possession, and eventually they throw the ball away, and number 9 there gets I would say lucky in this case. Gets
Yeah.
the ball, drives
Wow,
the
the
ball
defender
away.
tripped,
Yeah,
but they called a foul on this one.
yeah. He went all the way to the basket. His layup misses a little bit long, but he is fouled for potentially 2 free throws coming up. So after some discussion, the refs ended up calling a breakaway foul. So Zhang Qingpeng, number 9, gets 2 free throws and the possession back. Unfortunately, he missed the first one. Apparently in the CBA, they don't really have different qualifications of fouls, no flagrant or breakaway. This is all categorized as an unsportsmanlike foul. So the Chinese broadcast just mentioned that Zhang Qingpeng, number 9, this 39-year-old, is now playing in his 669th game in the CBA, ranking number 2 in the history of the league in terms of games played. As the Heroes take the ball up front, and number 9 holds it, gets a pick, and drops off a pretty little pass, but number 23 misses the shot, and Baby Shaq cleans up the offensive rebound and directly tips it in.
Yep, they're still showing a lot of strength underneath inside the paint.
Yeah, their size is affecting the Dragons' defense as the Dragons get a open 3-pointer after a high pick from their center.
It's a nice set 3.
Yes.
Foot squared up.
The Heroes come back. They swing the ball around the perimeter. And we can see the centers trying to get into the action. Number 23 eventually catches the ball on the 3-point line. and dumps it off to number 9 for a moving three-pointer that hits the bottom of the net. That was a pretty high arcing shot as he was jumping sideways.
Yeah, now he has a double-double, 10 points and 10 assists.
Yeah, incredible feat for this 39-year-old point guard who was getting maybe half the minutes in this game and sitting quite often because of, I guess, his body not able to take him up full.
Well, also not having the foreign players.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
And solid defensive play from number 9 as he sees the center for the Dragons hold the ball. He takes a swipe, forces the hesitation and the 24-second violation.
Yeah, that's a smart play too. It wasn't really like he was going to block the shot with the big center, but that extra 2 seconds to regather his shot obviously led to the 24-second shot clock violation.
Yep, he brings the ball up the court, gives it to number 24. They are swinging the ball a lot around. I mean, with the lead, they seem actually a little bit more hesitant, but luckily they do find Baby Shaq in the lane, who has another comfortable little 6-foot right-handed hook to push the lead up. And we come back and we see the stat line for number 9, Zhang Qingpeng, the 39-year-old point guard, 10 points, 10 assists, and 6 rebounds, and 2 steals. So maybe we'll see if he's able to hit a triple-double mark today in this game.
It's a very nice John Stockton line for you.
Yes.
Yeah, it helps to have big men like Karl Malone or in this case Baby Shaq to dump off to.
Quite so. Just in terms of composure, though, Steve, maybe we can also take a look at him versus the other younger guards there when they attack the basket. I think as an older player, he understands that if the opportunity is not great, he can pull it out, whereas the younger guards tend to go in with scoring in mind.
Yeah. I think also, we have to give the Heroes inside presence. Like you said, 2 very good, big men in the post.
Yeah.
Not just 2, actually. They have a third guy who's pretty good, too. Look at that.
Yeah, we see another dump-off pass by number 9 to Baby Shaq, who makes a pretty move. He clears his man out. I mean, that was actually as Shaq of a move as we'll ever see in the modern game. He knocks his man off balance and lays it up. Yeah. Obviously not as explosive as one Shaquille O'Neal, but that move using his physical presence. Ooh, and the Dragons
guys on the floor.
The Dragons lose the ball, but the player who lost the ball actually is kind of like a pinball, or maybe like a bowling ball. He knocks down a couple of other players, creating a wide open 3-pointer by number 0. Number 25, excuse me.
That's one kind of offensive strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, see, just a no-look pass, right? He knows. Number 9, Zhang Qingpeng, he knows where his men are at every moment, which, again, is maybe his veteran experience.
I mean, for this game, too, the Heroes are playing with a really tight rotation. So it's pretty much been the same 5-6 guys playing.
Yeah.
And, you can feel like, even with their ability to extend the lead right now is a lot of their point guard looking to figure out a way to get the ball inside, right? Where they'll swing it side to side, but they're really just looking for an entry pass.
Yeah, so I think these 2 teams definitely are playing to their respective strength. Heroes definitely have a better inside presence, and this little point guard, 39-year-old point guard, is allowing the 2 big men to catch and make a play, whereas the Dragons tend to be more of a wing-heavy team. Their big men, even though play some decent defense, have not really made a mark so much on the offensive end.
Yeah.
So 2 free throws, and the Heroes push their lead up to 13.
I think this is where we're going to see the General get hot.
Yeah, so number 25, you see the General try to get open. Drops the ball down to Melo, who makes a fake, gets rid of his man, and hits a corner 3.
Yeah. How do you feel about Melo's corner 3? No, the real Melo.
I think the real Melo, his issue is that when he gets the ball, he doesn't pass, right? I think he's still a quality offensive player, but he isn't always the most efficient one.
Yeah.
But of course, he's useful for the Trailblazers as
Yeah, of course.
they have such a painful depth up front. As we
There
see
you
number
go.
9 there, another pretty pass. Missed shot by Baby Shaq, who gets his own offensive rebound. Yep, passes out to number 9, who goes in, drops it off. Another mid-range. I think that possession was not necessarily the cleanest one for the Heroes.
Yeah. You know, they had a man open on the three-point line, but he couldn't find him. Oh,
Give and
nice.
go. Good give and go for the Dragons over there with number 25, the point guard,
And
dumping the
team
ball.
captain?
Yeah. To the center, the team captain, who makes a layup with his left hand.
Oh, I like the art in the background. It's nice.
So Zhang Qingpeng holds the ball for the Heroes. He crosses over and, excuse me, that was not Zhang Qingpeng. That was a number 44.
Yeah.
Loses the ball off the baseline.
Really, the rest of the team just can't really handle. You gotta put the ball in Chinese Stockton's hands.
Yeah.
The problem I think with Chinese Stockton is, I think, obviously he's playing a great game today, but if this was the regular CBA, he might be having a guard like a Lester Hudson, right?
Yes,
and that
that's
would
right.
be
Yeah.
very, very difficult for him on the defensive end.
Yeah.
And also like endurance is a factor, once you get into the long season and the postseason. And so, like I said, he's a great, useful piece, I think, as we see in today's game. But, over a course of a season, I think he's probably not the solution long term, full term.
And we're back. As number 9, as Steve described, he may not be the long-term full-time solution during a regular CBA game, but he's definitely shining in this game as he handles the ball for the Heroes up top and drops it into the baseline to the 7-2 center, who tries to roll around and unfortunately loses the ball out of bounds. And so, we described his physical stature to Durant, but his ball handling ability is clearly nowhere near that of Kevin Durant, nor
He might
his
be more
shooting.
like a thumb maker.
Yeah, maybe that's an accurate description. So the Dragons are back. They have hesitation dribble attacking the basket that misses, but there's a loose ball foul on the rebound. And I believe the ball is going to stay in the Dragons' possession.
Yeah. That's a little bit of a bailout there. That was a bad shot right there, going up against 2 post defenders.
Yes.
But I think he smacked the guy in the face.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate elbow when he tried to clear space and get possession when he clearly didn't have one. Number 35, the 7'2" center Zhu Zhenrong was fouled out with his 6th foul. Let's see if this impacts the game in a meaningful way. And
yeah, so they've got to put number 20, Baby Shaq, back in the game.
yeah,
After he got sat down for a break. He's played a good game. He's put up 25 and 12, including 5 offensive rebounds. That's just a solid line.
he's definitely a major reason why I think Shandong does play inside out.
Yeah.
As we see some discussion on that turnover, that seemed pretty clear that the Shanxi Dragons player, the center, was the last to touch it. I don't know what the discussion is about, but eventually they rule it properly as the Heroes take the ball, holding on to a 6-point lead with 5 minutes to go.
I have to say the NBA, modern game of more 3-point shots and free-flowing offense is really fun and nice to watch. But sometimes some old school post offense, it just, really gets the energy. Like,
Yeah,
I quite enjoy watching a little bit of low post action.
yeah, I agree. I think, having some diversity in the offensive game is what makes it interesting. If everybody just runs and bombs, it's, 130 points is nice. It looks nice, but it doesn't really add to my
look,
enjoyment.
if I was a coach or a manager, I think that would be a style of play that I would prefer. More offense, more fans in the game.
Yeah.
Everybody likes it's great basketball, but sometimes when you just have a big guy with a lot of muscle and that can bang and get you those points like right underneath the basket, it's nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yep. So we see the attack from the Dragons. The point guard number 25, the 6-foot point guard Zhang Hanjun, He leads with his body, creates the contact in the foul, loses the ball, but gets 2 free throws. And he makes the first one, now facing the second attempt. Very pretty stroke, and he knocks down the free throw.
Yeah.
And after that free throw from the Dragons, the deficit has gone down from 12 to 4 points. In fact, we've seen quite a wild swing. The Dragons led by as much as 21 points in the first quarter, and they went down by as much as 12 in the fourth before clawing back to a 4-point deficit. And the Heroes lose or miss that free throw. Oh, that was not a particularly well executed play, but I think the Dragons are bailed out by a foul as we see our favorite shooter, the General, hit the deck.
Yeah, the point guard if I wish he'd given the pass a little earlier with a little more space to operate.
Definitely. And we talked about this Yuan Shuai, the General, a 6'3" guard with a pure shooting stroke. I mean, I know that we compare him to Ray Allen, but he feels so far more like maybe a J.J. Redick to me. He hasn't shown the ability so much to break his man down off the dribble, but running and shooting, he definitely draws the defense's attention.
Yeah, well, the one play he did break down his man. He got called for a bump offensive foul, so that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
I do wish, though, maybe they will do this as an adjustment, but they got to create more looks for him and build more of the offense around him. Maybe when Lester Hudson was on the team, they did less of that, and that wasn't his role. But now that Lester's not here, they've really got to create more for the General.
Yeah. So the Heroes swing the ball around, fake a high pick and roll, swing it eventually into a corner three-pointer to push the lead back up to 5 as the Dragons bring the ball past half court. Number 25, Zhang Hanjun, taking the ball back from his power forward. Now gets a pick from the center and sinks a very deep three-pointer.
It's a little bit of a hero shot, but he made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was almost Lillard-esque, maybe.
Let's try to get the ball in the paint.
Yep, so Baby Shaq comes out, tries to fake a pick that doesn't even catch body, and number 9, Zhang Qingpeng, fakes a shot, dumps it off.
Nice.
And the receiver fakes a shot and dumps it off, eventually to Baby Shaq for an easy lay-in.
That's what I'm saying. They have, not just 2 big. They have like 3 good bigs on this team.
Yep.
With a bit of chemistry among them.
A wide open shot for the General right under the basket. A pass from Carmelo there for an easy lay-in. There was not a man within 5 feet of him for such a wide open shot under the basket.
That's what happens when you can set some off-ball screens for your player who likes to run and
Hopefully we'll get a replay to see exactly what happened on that play as number 9 Zhang Qingpeng tries to hit another three-pointer but misses, and Baby Shaq knocks the ball loose into the hands of
the point guard, number 25.
Yep, Dragons point guard, who goes all the way to the basket for an easy lay-in.
He's tired of old John Stockton outplaying him in this game.
Yep, and Shandong is forced to call their 3rd timeout in the last 2 minutes. As we get back into game action, we see the 2 star point guards matched up for the 2 teams, and with 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go, the game is actually tied, so we have a brand new ball game, and Shandong is keeping its point guard, the Heroes keeping its point guard number 9 off ball for the time being. There is a foul as he tries to cut through the 2 defenders, as he tries to split the 2 defenders. We see a foul in the center for the Dragons.
I'm not sure why they went away from their point guard on that play. It was a foul, but had it not been for the whistle, that was a bad offensive possession.
Yeah, I think part of it is for his advanced age, number 9. He is 39 years old, and we saw during that actually last timeout a couple of replays where he got beat on both plays. So I think they're maybe trying to conserve him a little bit.
But but you try to save him on defense to, give him more, use on offense.
Yeah. So we see immediately after the inbounds for the Heroes, a foul on number 10. I guess he hit a funny bone or something, and the ball was knocked loose. Next foul by the Dragons will put them in the penalty. As yeah, so far that was really a wasted offensive play as number 9 launches a desperation three-pointer to beat the shot clock, and he didn't even draw rim.
I don't understand why they're going away from him, right? And then you give it to him with 3 seconds left, and all he can do is heave up a shot.
Yeah, and it looks like his three-point accuracy is actually not that high. I think traditionally he's been a pretty good three-point shooter.
He's a good three-point shooter. Yeah. He's a career like 40% three-point shooter. But still, like, you know, you give him very limited space and time to work. I don't understand what's going on with the Heroes.
Yeah. And we see the General get free for a three-pointer that goes in.
That's his 5th 3 of the game. He's now 5 of 7 from 3.
Yeah, excellent shooter as we mentioned, as the Dragons take a 3-point lead after being down 12 points in this quarter.
Huge 3.
I guess they heard you, Steve. They give the ball to number 9, Zhang Qingpeng,
No, that's not him.
Who gives it out to Zhang Hui, who drives in from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
For a difficult lay-in.
Oh,
and a beautiful steal.
That is sloppy.
Okay. Steal by number 24 of the Heroes to give the Heroes the possession back with the 1-point deficit. And number 9, Zhang Qingpeng, grabs the ball, gets caught up between 2 defenders, and he's on the ground for a little bit of a breather.
Yeah, that's a veteran move.
Yeah.
That's how you catch your breath. I'm just going to stay on the floor for a little bit. Yeah.
I don't know how much of that was him trying to force the action or how much of it was him just trying to create contact for a foul. But as mentioned before, the Dragons are over the foul limit, so that brings Zhang Qingpeng, number 9, our favorite Stockton-esque point guard, to the line for 2 free throws.
I think that was him trying to create a foul because he also had a teammate open in the corner that he could have passed to. So, you know, for him to, not uncharacteristically, but for him to look to drive with 2 defenders, I think he was looking for contact.
Yep, a minute and 3 seconds left. The second free throw gives the Heroes a 1-point lead. And this is, I guess, really where the stars shine. And we come back from timeout with a minute and 3 seconds to go as the Dragons inbound from their front court, facing a 1-point deficit.
Yeah. Let's see if they draw a play up for their... Okay, they give him the ball.
Yeah, for the General, who
Yeah.
now swings it to number 17. Yep, a
There
pick
you go.
set for Yuan Shuai, who
Oh!
hits a three-pointer probably
dagger.
5 feet behind the front, the center. So now the Dragons are up by 2 with 45 seconds to go. Let's see if the Heroes are able to make something of this possession.
Yeah.
Number 9 gets the ball with a high pick, and he tries to find opposite corner, and the ball is intercepted with 30 seconds to go. And it looks like they're going to play out this possession and hopefully get another attempt at the basket.
Yeah, they need to get a stop here.
Yeah, they're facing a 2-point deficit here.
There's time. Oh!
Yeah, the Heroes player knocks the ball loose from number 25's hands, and he's walking towards the other direction as though he should get possession, but it looks to me like maybe he touched the ball last.
So they gotta review this.
Yes. So after referee review, the ball was ruled to be Dragon ball with 6 seconds on the shot clock and 13 seconds left in the game clock, with Shanxi actually holding on to a lead. And
They called a foul?
let's see what happened. I think Shanxi tried to inbound the ball very close to the midcourt line, and there was physical contact, obviously, but let's see what the call is. The Heroes are protesting that they didn't foul, but
Yeah, that is a tough call.
yeah.
That is a very tough call. That's good defense on the inbound.
Yeah.
And I think a little hand on the hip might have drawn the whistle.
Yeah.
I think he said English. I think he was like, what?
And the Shanxi center hits the first free throw, Guo Zhaobao, the captain.
Yeah.
And now they lead by 3. If he hits this next free throw, then it'll be difficult, especially for a CBA team to make up 4 points in 12 seconds. But let's see what happens.
Oh, he
And the free
missed.
throw misses.
Oh,
Ooh, and he goes after the rebound and is ruled to have fouled the defensive player in a loose ball situation.
yeah.
I think that's a reasonable call. I believe they are over the limit. That means 2 free throws for the Heroes.
Wow. Okay. So they called that up. Okay.
Loose ball foul. And we see number 9, Zhang Qingpeng, for the Heroes.
Yeah.
Just crouched on the ground. Obviously, maybe that last play where he got caught between 2 players is really hurting him a little bit there. Yeah. Yes, the defensive player on that replay clearly has inside possession. Yeah, Zhang Qingpeng is being helped off the floor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we'd hate to see that. Let's hope that he isn't really seriously hurt and that he can come back. Next game, apparently the Shandong team really needs him.
Yeah. It's also, part of aging, as we know.
He's younger than me.
Well, he's okay. Barely, but I guess look, his teammate's going to be shooting the free throw.
No, I mean, he wasn't hurt in that last possession. He was hurt earlier. This man shooting the free throw, number 24, was the one that got in front of Gajiao to draw the foul. So this isn't a replacement free throw shooter situation. And he makes the first free throw to pull the team back by 2.
What do you try to do here? Make this one and...
Well, he should be missing it, but I guess they're going to go for it and see if they can play good defense.
Okay. You got a quick foul here.
Yeah. Yeah, again, we alluded to this before. No timeouts, but they're allowed to make a substitution.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it took him 4 seconds to make that foul.
So yeah, it's kind of a slow whistle by the ref too.
Yeah. Yeah, and this man stepping up to the free throw line, number 17, 6'6" wing. He's
Looks
not
quite
a
young.
particularly good free throw shooter, unfortunately. Let's see if he's able to capitalize and make this a more difficult shot.
Oh no.
That first shooting motion did not look good. He missed left by almost half a foot. Liu Guanten,
24.
his second attempt.
Age 24.
Way short.
Get the rebound.
Yep, so the Heroes get the rebound and they call their last 20-second timeout. Let's see if they're able to draw up a decent play.
This is exciting. Maybe we should think about what play they might run.
Yeah.
Now that their point guard is out of the game.
Yeah, this is where it gets difficult, right? Because if you are a post player, it usually takes you a few seconds to set up a shot. So they're not likely going to go into baby Shaq. They're going to have to try to set up maybe a high pick and roll to free up one of their remaining shooters.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would still like to see somebody take the ball to the basket.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very unfortunate.
Yeah, we see number 9, Zhang Qingpeng, getting his back worked on by the trainers. Past baseline. As his team draws up strategy, definitely needing him to either make that entry pass or be the first man to handle the ball. And we see the camera focused on number 24. This young man hit a couple of three-pointers earlier in the game. Maybe they're trying to get him free. So actually just a 1-point deficit. They don't need to launch a quick three-pointer. They could, as you said, Steve, try to go into the basket. 5 seconds.
Oh! That was tough.
I think that's very unfortunate. The inbounds pass was not a quality pass. It sailed high, giving the defensive player time to react.
Yeah, it looked like he was open for, a split second there.
Yes.
But I think the pass, like Frank said, was not high quality.
Yeah, it took too long to get there, and the defensive player got in front of it, and the offensive player had no choice but to foul to stop the clock. So now we're down to 4 seconds with the Dragons looking at a couple of free throws, I believe.
Yeah, it's too slow. Yep.
Okay, so they're going to put it back up to 5 seconds on the game clock. This game has been quite an interesting one up to this point. But the finish seems a little bit underwhelming as now the Shanxi Dragons hold a 1-point lead, the possession arrow, and has 2 free throws coming up.
Maybe they should experiment with the elo ending.
Yeah.
Because this is what you want to avoid is just a lot of timeouts, a lot of reviews, and a lot of free throws.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a foul on Purple Heroes. Baby Shaq.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. They could have had a easier, maybe a bigger man make the inbounds pass that would have made things. Wow, so there was no free throws, and Shandong was not even able to come up with a foul, and they simply run out the clock for this, as I said, a little bit of an underwhelming finish to this otherwise very exciting game.
It was an exciting game. It was a well-played game. Some really interesting players, like Frank promised. The finish, the score was close, but the finish was a little bit underwhelming.
Yeah, but if you stuck with us all the way to now, thank you. We'll try to bring you more exciting action from the CBA going forward. And again, thanks to Andy from CTVS for making this possible. And thank you, Fernando, as well, as we sign off.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.